welcome to the International Congress of Aesthetics and Spa, Miami. Give yourself a round of applause for being here this morning. Your world is about to change. I remember the days that I used to come to conferences, and it was probably about 15 years ago when I first started in my aesthetic journey, probably 16 years now. And I remember I would come here, I would be worn out, exhausted, beaten up from doing clients all day long, from hustling, trying to make it happen. And then I would come to a conference like this, and then I'm suddenly reinvigorated with energy. I can't wait to get back to work and share all the amazing things that I learned in this conference. Have you guys felt like that before? Raise your hand if you've come to a conference before. Okay, raise your hand if this is the first time you've come. Stand up if this is the first time you've come. Awesome, give them a round of applause. You guys are gonna have an amazing time, amazing. Okay, well, to be able to start the conference, and I wanted to kick it off with the bang, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the word for our conference, and it is daring. So if you think about this word, it has multiple meanings, and it depends on what context you put it in. So to start off, I wanted to be able to share my journey with you. And I'm going to first share a quote, and then I want to go into the story of how I got to be on this stage. So the most difficult thing in the world is to reveal yourself, to express what you have as an artist. I feel that we must try many things, but above all, we must dare to fail. You must be willing to risk everything to really express it all. And that quote means so much to me because I started off as an artist. I actually grew up in a home in which I had parents that were both, one was a drug addict and one was an alcoholic. So when I grew up in this home, it was pretty abusive because there was no attention, there wasn't anyone taking me to and from school. I would have to find rides. I would have to figure out everything. In fact, my sister and I, we would actually recycle cans for school clothes each year. And when I think about that journey, that gave me a lot of the will and the drive that I have now. So when I was a high school senior, I was getting ready to graduate, and I wanted to have every opportunity I possibly could to be able to go to college. So I worked really hard. I got straight A's. Homecoming queen, class president, but I couldn't even go home. I was living with uncles or grandparents or whomever, but I kept my home life a complete secret from everyone. No one knew what my circumstances were, because a lot about life is how you show up. And when I would go to school, I would show up and give my 100% best every time. So I was really blessed that I got a scholarship, a full ride to college. So I started out at Ohio State, and then I took an art class. And in my art class, the professor said, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "College?" He said, "No, you should be in an art school. You're very talented." And I told him, I said, I don't know anything about an art school. And if it's a private art school, I don't think I can afford it. He said, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you." So he helped me get my portfolio ready. He helped me write all the essays. He even took me to my appointment. And believe it or not, they accepted me into art school and gave me a full ride. So that person stepping in my life at that moment, at that time, changed me forever. And when I arrived in art school, I had overalls, pigtails. I was from a farm community. I only dressed what I knew, what I lived in. And this was in the city. So you've got like that whole skateboarding look, and I mean, totally different than what I've ever experienced. And then the funny thing is, everybody would stay up late at night to do their artwork. And they had tattoos everywhere, which was cool. It was cool to me, but I felt really out of place. And I got made fun of a lot because of the way I dressed. But as you know, I was barely making it. So I couldn't afford to buy other clothes. I had to just kind of suck it up and go to class and get made fun of. Then I got a part-time job working at Clinique. This is what changed the trajectory of my life. When I got that part-time job, It felt like I wasn't going to work. I was helping other people feel their best self and feel beautiful, and that filled up the emptiness that I had inside of me. And then that made me realize I want to go to aesthetic school. I didn't even hear of aesthetic school. So I finished art school, went to aesthetic school, again, barely making it, eating those ramen noodles, trying to figure it out, working as many hours as possible. And as soon as I got through aesthetic school, I was renting a room in a salon. It was very small. In fact, it was so small, I had to put shelves up on the sides of the wall to put my products. I couldn't even have a cart in the room. I could fit a steamer, though. And when I was at work that day, I was in the back room, and I was crying. I was talking to the stylist, Dwayne, and I told him, I said, I don't think I'm going to make it. I can't afford rent. You had to pay weekly rent. I just got a brand new microderm machine. I was making payments on that. And he told me, he said, you will make it. You have to believe in yourself. Just when you're getting ready to quit, that's when life changes. So later that day, he came back and got me in the break room as I was feeling sorry for myself. He said, I have a client for you. I said, okay. So I went up front. She was a brow wax. I took her back in my treatment room, and I felt very confident because brow waxes, I got those down. I felt very good in brows. So I'm chit-chatting with her like I would any client, getting to know her. And at the end of the service, I sit her up in her chair, and I tell her, I said, it was great meeting you. I'd love to do your brows again. Would you like to rebook? And she said, actually, I would like to hire you. And I'm looking around like, okay. She said, I actually am the head surgeon for Ohio State Plastic Surgery. And I think that you would be a great addition to our team. We were looking for an esthetician to run our skincare division. So imagine, my life changed that moment. When I started for Ohio State, they flew me all over the country to train, to learn from the best of the best. It is amazing the journey that I've had thus far, and every time when I didn't want to do anything anymore, I just wanted to give up, is when my life changed. But so much about our life is daring to show up, daring to be 100% and give your best, even when the circumstances are so, you can't even see beyond them. So when I was working at Ohio State, I spent about 5 years there. And then the chief of plastic surgery decided he was going to retire. And I knew this was time for me to exit and start my new chapter, my new journey. So then I decided to open my business, and it's called Skin Perfect. I wanted to create a business that combined beauty education with self-acceptance for women. When I was in plastic surgery, I always felt that they would get the surgery, but afterwards they would feel like something's still not right inside of them, because what they were thinking is that surgery would fix it. They would no longer feel that they don't like to look in the mirror, but it didn't go away. And when I was working with them, I was doing pre- and post-operative work, so I would hear the stories, whether it was from breast cancer, or it was a disfiguring accident, or it was cosmetic. The story was the same. So I wanted to open spas that could allow women to come in and start to understand what makes them unique and what they can do to embrace who they are, but also work on themselves, whether it's their skin, whether it's wearing the right colors, whether it's having a customized foundation for them, because it's about who they are, not about fitting in a category. So Skin Perfect Spas has been open now for 10 years. November 7th will be our 10-year anniversary. We have 3 spas. And it's amazing. I wake up every day and I get to work with the most amazing women, not only our clients, but also the team. We have this amazing team that they know they have their heart in the right place. They are meant to be where they're supposed to be, and that is in that spa. We change lives every single day. So let me tell you, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you have experienced in your life, what awful things have happened to you. Or maybe you've been just blessed throughout your whole life, but you've been given everything you have, but you don't know how to work for something, the entitlement. Something can change inside of you. And I dare each one of you to step out in something that scares the life out of you. My first day in that plastic surgery practice, I had no idea about clinical aesthetics. I was scared to death. But that is when your life is going to change. So I encourage you at this conference to connect with people, to reach out, shake their hand, introduce yourself. Don't be afraid, because everybody feels the same way. Everybody is nervous. Everybody doesn't even want to look at their neighbor because they feel insecure or they feel that they're not good enough. We're all in the same boat. But what the best part of life is, that's just part of your journey. That's just part of your growth. So I encourage you right now to look at the person next to you or behind you or in front of you, and I want you to take 2 minutes and introduce yourself. Go ahead, 2 minutes. All right, now you just did your first step of daring greatly today. Give yourself a hand. Good job. That's the first step. I'm very proud of you, because even that is hard to do in the beginning. Well, these next couple days are going to change your life, and I want to get started into our first speaker. This panel of speakers is incredible, and let me tell you, you're going to walk away this morning after listening to all these speakers feeling like you're a different person.